Show 100 strangers the same photo of a face, and their attractiveness ratings line up almost perfectly. Not a loose trend, closer to a room full of people all reading the same number off the same scale. Now let those same people actually know that face for 3 months, and the agreement falls apart completely. Same face, same raters, and suddenly nobody can agree on it, and that has a consequence. It means Out of Your League has an expiration date, and researchers at Northwestern roughly measured it. It's a few months. That's the finding. Now let me show you how they proved it. Start with the thing everyone already believes, that beauty is subjective, and we all see something different. That's half right. It's spectacularly false at the start, and it becomes true later. Timing is everything. Psychologists have a flat little name for the start: zero acquaintance. No history, no context, just a face. At zero acquaintance, people behave like measuring instruments. Point them at a stranger and they all report the same number. Line up photos of 100 faces, hand them to separate groups, and the rankings barely move. Different rooms, different cities, different people, roughly the same order every time. That's the eerie agreement. Some of that's plumbing, symmetry, clear skin, average-ish proportions, signals your eye reads before you think. Some of it's shared water. Same films, same feeds, same handful of faces on billboards for 20 years. Either way, at first glance, we're all grading with the same rubric, and not one of us picked it. Which is why Out of Your League doesn't feel like insecurity. At zero acquaintance, it's an actual measurement. You can score it, rate 2 faces, compare the numbers, and there's either a gap or there isn't. Now, Eli Finkel and Paul Eastwick spent years running speed dating events inside a working psychology lab. Northwestern students, name tags, 4-minute dates, a bell, then the next chair, dozens of rounds a night. Afterward, everyone privately rates everyone. How attractive. How much would you want to see them again? From the photos alone beforehand, the ratings clump together the way they always do. Consensus. 4 minutes of conversation later, that consensus had already started coming apart at the seams. 4 minutes. One stiff exchange about majors and hometowns, and the shared rubric had cracks in it. If 4 minutes does that, you can guess what months do. But the stranger finding comes first. The total amount of desirability in the room didn't drop, it just got redistributed. The guy who was a solid 7 to everybody became a 9 to 2 people and a 4 to 3 others. Nobody lost value. Value just stopped being a public number and became a private one. Then Lucy Hunt and Eastwick ran the slow version of the same question. Not 4 minutes, a semester. They had students in small classes rate each other early, while everyone in the room was still a stranger. Then they came back months later after group projects, inside jokes, the guy who's always late, the one who always answers, early ratings, heavy consensus, the room agreed on who the attractive people were. Later ratings, the consensus was mostly gone. What was left was personal taste, and there was a lot of it. Same room, same faces, same raters. The only variable that changed was time spent in each other's company. Picture the new hire everyone noticed on day 1. By March, half the office has stopped looking, and 2 people can't stop. That drift is the finding, and the mechanism behind it's almost embarrassingly simple. You stop looking at a face and start remembering a person, and nobody remembers the same person. You were in the group chat, I was in the car ride home, completely different evidence. You watched them be short with a waiter, I watched them explain something without making anyone feel stupid. I got the version who's funny at 11 at night, you got the version who's unreachable before coffee. 2 separate files on the same human, and neither of us can see what's in the other one. And here's the strange part, that private evidence doesn't sit next to the face, it edits the face. You felt this. Someone gets better looking over a few weeks, and you can't name what changed. Nothing changed. Your file got thicker. The face is now downstream of everything else you know. It runs the other direction, too. A face can quietly lose points over one thing you saw them do. So consensus never really gets destroyed. It gets crowded out, one private observation at a time. Which means attractiveness isn't subjective or objective. It's subjective for strangers and subjective for everyone else. Beauty is a public fact in the first minute and a private opinion by the 3rd month. If that just reframed something for you, that's exactly what this channel is for. Stick around. Because so far, this is all numbers on a screen. The next study went looking out in the world, and it found a fingerprint you can see in real couples without asking them one question about attraction. Hunt, Eastwick, and Finkel recruited well over 150 real couples at every possible stage. Married decades, dating months, engaged, just moved in. Then they asked one slightly unusual question. Not how did you meet, how long did you know each other before you started dating? Some answered in days. They met, it clicked, they were together by the weekend. Others answered in years. Same friend group, same office, same Tuesday climbing session. Nothing happened for ages. Then the couples were filmed, and independent raters who knew nothing about them scored each partner's attractiveness. Just faces rated separately so nobody's score could bleed into their partner's score. Then the researchers checked one thing. Inside each couple, did the two scores match? For the couples who got together fast, the answer was yes, almost boringly yes. Sevens with sevens, fours with fours, the market working exactly the way the cynics insist it works. That's assortative mating. Everyone trades in the same currency and lands somewhere near their own price. And the couples who spent months or years as friends first, that matching basically vanished. Not weakened, gone. Their two scores had about as much to do with each other as their shoe sizes. You've seen these couples and quietly wondered, here's what they have in common. They waited. They didn't beat the market. They left it. By the time attraction arrived, the scoring had already gone private. So where's the line? The researchers went looking for where the matching effect actually dies. It isn't years. That's the part that surprised me. It's months, and not many of them. Somewhere in that first season of really knowing someone, the shared rubric loses its grip on your eyes. The 4-minute speed date and the 3-month classroom are both pointing at the same clock. Agreement is strongest at second 0, and it drains fast once real information starts landing. That's the expiration date, not on beauty, on the agreement about beauty. Out of your league is only true while the two of you are still strangers. It's a statement about how little someone knows, wearing the costume of a statement about how you look. Which explains something you've watched happen. The guy nobody looked at in September dating in December. Nothing about him got upgraded. Somebody just gathered enough evidence to overwrite the first glance. Now flip it, because this cuts in a direction people don't particularly enjoy hearing. If you're used to being the attractive one, the room's agreement is also a resource with a shelf life. It buys the first conversation. It doesn't survive contact with the version of you that's tired and careless. The public number opens the door. The private file decides whether anybody stays in the room. And you control almost none of the first one, and nearly all of the second. So here's what actually follows from this, and it's a lot more specific than be yourself. If your appeal is unusual, if you're a taste rather than a consensus, photos are the worst possible format for you. A dating app is a permanent zero-acquaintance machine. It freezes everyone at the exact moment agreement is highest. It's a room nobody ever stays in long enough to become an exception in. Which is why the same person can go nowhere on an app and be quietly adored at their climbing gym. The gym hands you the one thing the app can't: repeated, boring, low-stakes exposure across months. The fix was never a better photo. It's more Tuesdays. Same people, same room, seeing you unperformed. Every ordinary Tuesday adds a page to somebody's file on you. That's the entire mechanism. It's also why put yourself out there is decent advice that almost nobody explains correctly. Out there doesn't mean more strangers. More strangers means more zero-acquaintance, and the rubric wins every time. It means the same faces, on a schedule, for long enough that the rubric stops mattering. The pottery class, the volunteer shift, the band nobody's good at yet, the same 12 people, weekly. That isn't a gentler way to date. It's the only known condition under which consensus reliably falls apart. One more thing, and it's the part I keep coming back to. Every couple you've looked at and thought, how, is just a couple whose file you haven't read. You were rating them at zero acquaintance. They stopped being strangers to each other a long time ago. So attractiveness is a fact about strangers and an opinion about people, and time is what converts one into the other. Strangers agree. 4 minutes cracks it, a few months erases it, and you can see the result in who ends up together. If that reframes something for you, like and subscribe. Next up, why the people you see every single day slowly start looking better. Your next blind spot is already in the queue. I'll see you there.